That means where you live, what you drive on the price tag on your plate. Sign of peace of mind and this I'm gonna know. You agree, have a drink with me, raise your glasses for a little bit of chicken.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being part of this industry that's the most important industry in the world. We are the most important industry in the world because we enable every other industry to do what they do and to do it at these wonderful modern levels. When I was a kid, there was a widespread belief that we were soon to run out of oil and gas. High school in Colorado, early 80s, mass starvation by the year 2000, modern civilization was going to collapse because we were running out of oil and gas. Now these kind of end of the world manias, they never go away, they reinvent themselves. But at that time, I was scared by that. I chose my college. I went to MIT to work on plasma physics, to work on fusion energy. Because a world without cheap, affordable energy for all is bleak. We know that because we get to look back at human history. Now, in spite of that, our industry is rarely ever celebrated. Frankly, that's just stunning to me, but we're all here to try to change that a little bit. So I'm no David Letterman, but I wrote my top 10 reasons I love oil and gas. And starting with a few things, when you combine the arrival of oil and gas and the spread of human liberty and free enterprise, which really is less than 200 years old. So 200 years ago, before widespread liberty and before oil and gas, before the first oil and gas well was drilled, human life expectancy globally was about 35 years, not meaningfully different than it was 20,000 years ago. The lot of the average person did not improve throughout all of human history until the arrival of oil and gas and free enterprise. Since then, number one, human life expectancy has doubled since the first oil and gas well was drilled. Average human lives over 70 years across the planet now. Also, before the first oil and gas well was drilled, global extreme poverty, which means living on less than $2 a day, in today's dollars, less than $2 a day, 90% of the human population lived in extreme poverty. Today, thanks to what you do and free enterprise, that number is less than 10% and falling. Number three, saved the whales. From the late 1700s through the middle of the 1800s, there was 1,000 whaling ships trawling all four of the oceans and hunting and killing whales as memorialized in Moby Dick. And why were they doing that? They were doing that because inside a sperm whale head, there's 4 to 8 barrels of oil. That provided people clean indoor lighting. Imagine your life today without a light switch. When the sun goes down, it's dark until the sun comes up. No one wanted that, but they almost completely decimated the whale population. Oil refined into kerosene changed that. Cheaper, abundant for everyone, not just well-off people, and the whale population has surged in the last 150 years. Number 4, planes, trains, and automobiles. That one's self-explanatory. Number 5 is this broader enabled modern life. Just think of your day. I drove down a road made out of oil, in a car powered by oil. My iPhone in my pocket is made out of oil. The clothing I'm wearing, the climbing gear I use to climb with my son, all made out of and enabled by oil and gas. Big one to me is the enabling of modern medicine. There was no modern medicine throughout all of human history until the wealth that came from free enterprise and oil and gas. I myself would not have been alive to celebrate my 14th birthday party if not for oil and gas. Woo! Now we'll go to the modern world. You know, I was born a long time ago. But the recent shale revolution, just last 10 or 15 years, has made oil and gas so plentiful, it's driven down the prices around the globe and saved over $1 trillion every year to the consumers of the world. Over $1 trillion. That's $2,000 for every American family every year, and $200 for every man, woman, and child on the planet. Bringing back Made in the USA. Eliminating U.S. dependence on foreign oil. Just 12 years ago, the United States imported 60% of the oil we consumed. Today, that number's 15% and declining rapidly. That's the shale revolution. Talk about energy independence. Our fabulous state of Colorado produces 3 times more energy we consume. That's oil and gas, that's the shale revolution. What about CO2 emissions, greenhouse gases? Well, last year, the United States, per capita, per person, CO2 emissions were lower than any year since before I was born. The decline in that was driven by the shale revolution and cheap shale gas, which is now the United States by far and away the largest source of electricity in this country. That's a lot to celebrate. As amazing as it is, our industry in Colorado is under attack. It's at risk of virtually being shut down. I don't want to go into the details of that, but what would a Colorado be if that happened? It's an economic study. 12 years from now, we'd lose over 100,000 jobs. We'd lose over $200 billion of economic activity and $8 billion of state and local tax revenue. I don't know how we run the state without that, but it's important for us to stand together, talk about what we do, and engage. Now we have more work to do, not just here in Colorado, but I'm going to close with one final thought. There's 1 billion people in the world today without access to electricity or oil and gas. 1 billion. Those people live like our ancestors. They burn grass, trees, sticks, and dung inside huts. I've slept in many of those huts. 3 to 4 million of them die every year from indoor air pollution. They want what we've got. We want to give them what we've got. That means more energy, more oil and gas. Our charge is to bring it. Thank you for coming, and bring it.